So how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. It feels like a giant snow day to me. Just the rest of the
Yeah,
month.
I know. Well,
So
we've had a lot of snow days these like last 9 months, right? I'm in LA and I have my kid. I'm basically in Little House on the Prairie. My kid is in his schoolroom next door. My younger kid's downstairs, like trying to learn some sort of version of preschool. My wife and I are, figuring out our own spaces in the house to work. It's been really great, but also feels like you're playing hooky every single day.
I was gonna say it's got to be crazy to have that many people in one house. I'm here by myself, so I
Oh,
don't have any of
sounds like
those.
a dream.
That's what everybody tells me, but I'm like, I haven't seen. I've seen two people over the course of 9 months,
Right.
like really hung out with them.
And that, I mean, and I say it in all jest, like I do love being with my family. I think it's
Yeah.
been a blast. And like this weekend, we just rented a cabin and we went up to like Idlewild. And it is great to be like, we have at the worst case scenario, we have the four of us, which is really good.
Well, I was gonna say, you've really been a voice of just comfort. Maybe and this is like I've had a one way conversation with you for 9 months
Oh my
because
gosh.
I've been keeping up with everything. The app I
Yeah.
thought was great, or the text message right
Oh
at the
yeah.
beginning, because I love getting somebody telling me, "Hey, let's all watch this movie together."
I
So
like that a lot. And it was really fun. I love that app and they'd be able to text people. And I try to jump on it as much as I can. And it's just like I felt like for that first 100 days or whatever that 100 days was, it was fun to kind of give. I think we all were just looking for something because we all had exhausted. Like, all right, we all watched Schitt's Creek. We all saw The Boys. Like, what's next? And it just gave, like, for me, it was something to do and also challenge myself and find new things. And so yeah, that was a real blast. It's been fun. I just always am nervous about overwhelming people on it, but I try to get back to as many people as I can. I'm always like clicking away.
well, for me, it was like, sometimes you sit down and you don't want to pick. And to have
Yes,
somebody go, "Hey, watch this," you're like, "Yes." And there
that
were
was
always
yeah.
great picks too. That was the
Oh,
thing.
thanks. I
So,
appreciate it. I thought really hard about them, and it was daunting, right? Because it was like, okay, what do I want to do, and how do I keep it diverse? Like as far as like, it's not just like rom-coms or Eddie Murphy movies or whatever. Just like find different things, so it didn't also get like, okay, just another Vin Diesel movie. So it was trying to figure out all those different things.
well, I was kind of surprised after I watched Archenemy
Yeah,
that you were doing press for it,
I
because
know.
you really come in like a shotgun, and it's just like, bam, here's 10 minutes of me, and that's
Yep.
it. And then you're
In
out.
and out. Yeah, no, it's a fun cameo. And for me, I'm just a big fan of Adam. Adam is just, I think, a really interesting director. I saw his film Daniel Isn't Real at South by Southwest, like a midnight screening. I was like, whoa, this blew my mind. And if you're a fan of How Did This Get Made, we talk about Drop Dead Fred, and that is like Drop Dead Fred meets like Fight Club. And it's so great. I really just loved it. And when this came around, he just texted me and he's like, "Hey, you want to do this part in my movie?" And I was like, "I'll do anything for you." And I read it and I loved it. And so they asked me to kind of sit around and talk about it. But there's not much I can really say about my part, or how it even figures into the big movie. But yeah, I'm here.
Well, I think it plays a pretty key role to what happens in the movie, and I do have some questions
Yeah,
about it.
for sure. For
First
sure.
of all, Adam, now happens once maybe, but happens twice. I have to say, he really wanted to see you and Glenn Howerton in some short shorts.
Oh my gosh. I mean, look, this is the most revealing. I've had a year of being, before quarantine started, being very, very naked on camera. It started off on Black Monday,
Mhm.
where I was rollerblading in short shorts with no shirt on. And so I had gotten into shape for that. I'd lost like 30 pounds. I started working out, trying to do all this sort of stuff. And when this came around, it was right when Black Monday was wrapping. And I was like, oh, it's Christmas time. I can eat what I want. I can drink what I want. I'm going to be great. And then he texted me and he's like, actually, we're not going to shoot your scene before Christmas. We're going to shoot it right after Christmas.
Oh
So I was
man.
like, oh no. So I had to keep it going until then. Not that I'm like Jack, like The Rock, but I had to keep my body knowing that I was going to be in short shorts. And when I saw those short red undies, man, oh man, they were small. They were very, very small.
Well, you've seen the movie, right?
Oh yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I think he made you look better than Glenn at the end of the movie.
There you go. I
His
mean, look,
shorts are like, I was like, oh, I don't know if I would have got into Glenn shorts, man. Those are great.
look, I worked hard. I work hard to keep it, going on. Like, knowing, but I like that the fear of being that naked is the great motivator. But I also felt like the way we talked about the character, and we kind of collaborated on the look, which is pretty intense look. It's gold chain, but mainly a bunch of tattoos, and he had an amazing makeup department, and we sat in that trailer and just kind of figured out what this look was going to be, and we were kind of passing back and forth ideas, a kind of like Post Malone meets Gary Oldman in True Romance. Like that's kind of the vibe we're going for.
Well, I was going to say, you let fans discover you in this way, as opposed to Kumail Nanjiani, who just goes out and he's like, look at me, world. You kind of kept it on the down low and let it kind of slowly trickle out.
Yeah, I didn't get to do look, I didn't get the Marvel method. I didn't get I had to do this all myself, so I was figuring it out, reading online, making sure I did everything right. But truthfully, if anyone wants to know how to get any of this this amazing body, if I want to get in shape, I have I have the secret. Eat better, don't drink, and work out. That's about it. That is about those are the big 3 tips right there.
And those are the big 3 things most people are doing right now.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And this is a time where it is all hanging out.
Well, in going off of Kumail, I know you want to be in a Marvel movie, right?
Hell yeah.
Now, Patton Oswalt takes the first thing they offer him, and it's a great role in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
But it's not like one of the bigger roles. Now, Kumail hangs around and
you can't do an MC. You got to do MCU only, because that's under the Feige banner. Like that Marvel TV, everything that we know of Marvel TV was not under that Feige. That's all Jeff Loeb. You gotta pick your battles. You gotta get in the right one.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. I mean, especially with all of these Marvel shows coming, because I think they started filming 3 of them last week.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to just jump on the first thing they offer you? You're going to be like, nope, I know what I'm going to do, and I'm going to wait for the big one.
Well, look, I don't know if you saw it, but I just did a documentary for Marvel on Disney Plus. It's called Lost and Found. So that was my first foray into it. Basically, I came in and I said, look, if I'm going to be if I'm going to be an actor in Hollywood that's successful, I need to be a part of the Marvel world. And so I uncover what I think could be my ticket into the Marvel world. So we'll see. I mean, but in the documentary, people like John Hamm and Nicole Byer and Rachel Bloom and Jack McBrayer and Ron Funches all kind of show up to help me put together this vision of the perfect superhero team.
And that's under the Marvel 616 banner, right? If you're searching for it on Disney Plus.
Yes, it's hard to find. Oddly, Marvel has not released anything new, and even I knew what I was looking for and I had a hard time to find it. But to answer your question, I mean, I think you have to take whatever they offer you, but because you don't want to, unless you're like, I don't know, like unless you're a big deal. But all I want from the Marvel universe is a character that can come back. Like to me, Jon Favreau. Great character, can bop around in a bunch of different movies. We're talking about Don Cheadle. I feel like Don Cheadle can move around. Like you want a character that can kind of mix and match with a bunch of different teams. I don't want to live in one universe. I don't want to be a teacher in Spider-Man. I gotta get my fingers in the whole mix.
Well, I was gonna say Kat Denning. They switched her. She was in the Thor movies, and now she's going to be in WandaVision.
Yeah, well, WandaVision is, and I don't know how much is out there. I know a little bit more than I think most people. So I'll be careful to say that WandaVision does some really awesome things, especially if you're a fan of the Marvel Universe. I feel like it's going to be a real mind-blowing show. And for it to be the first MCU show, which I don't think it was intentionally because I think of COVID and everything like that, it will be I think it's going to be super trippy and kind of have all the this idea that we get to see the Scarlet Witch the way at full power, I guess, in a way, like we don't really get to see her that much in the films, and I feel like this is going to be a real fun way to see her.
I was going to say, you're kind of putting off some really heavy Sandman vibes.
Oh, look, get me in there.
Sure.
Get me. But again, I got to make sure if I'm doing Sandman, I got to make sure that the MCU bought that Spider-Man, because I don't want to live in that Sony world. I got to be smart about this, man. I got to be in it. I was talking about this the other day to somebody. I was like, there's a character, my gosh, can't remember his name right now, but he basically, Bruce Banner pushes him out of the way when he got his gamma rays, and he just started hanging out with the Avengers, and then he became part of the Avengers, and he's just a regular dude, and then all of a sudden started hooking up with Captain Marvel, not sexually, but just like hanging out. And then he like becomes like he's hanging out in space, and I'm like, that's the perfect character. Like, let me just bop around, let me just be the dude, let me just be the sidekick, let me be like Chris Hemsworth and Ghostbusters of the Avengers world,
where you can show up in any movie, any TV show they got going on.
yeah, exactly. I want to be the Clark Gregg, but not without the dying.
Now I want to go back to the short shorts.
Yeah.
Zoli, she looks very young in this movie. I know it was shot last year.
Yeah.
I know she's 22, but still having to come on set and act against her looking that young. What is that like? Is that nervous, or do you just come in and you're like, I'm going to be confident and just do this like this is actually happening? Or do you get kind of?
Yeah, it's tricky. I think, every time you do a movie, there's about a day or two where you're, I'm learning who the DP is. I'm meeting the cast. I'm working with the people who are the costumers and the makeup, it's like your first day at school, right? You're getting comfortable with everybody. When you do a movie like this, or when I do a movie like this and I have like a one scene part, my first day is my last day. Like, and so there's no chance to get comfortable, because you have to come and bring it in at the first, from the first cut, and this scene in particular, it was at the end of the day. So we really, we had about 6 hours, or, a handful of hours to kind of shoot this. And there's some stunts or, there's some effects and yeah, it's daunting. So you just have to kind of jump in, as far as the age is concerned. I've had a history of saying a lot of inappropriate things to people of a younger age. The League is any, you can look at the League and see all that, but as long as it wasn't sexual, I think that was easier. Like it was easier for me to be creepy instead of sexual. Like sexual, then you have to have a little bit more of a, make sure everyone's comfortable on set and everything like that. But this is just able to be like insane to her. But it was intense to just kind of meet her and start doing this and meet her like this, naked.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is that the first time? Did you guys like hang out just for a little bit, or did you just step in and be like, "This is me"?
I stepped in that costume, and because of it's a low budget movie too, so you're jumping in at that point. So it is a testament to Adam and the set and the crew that he had, and the fact that they were able to make it all work, right? Like everyone felt comfortable. And I think, part of it is just like trying to jump into a pool. You got to just jump in. You can't put your toe in. And, she knows what the part is. I know what the part is. It's not like she's meeting me on the street and I have to be like, hey, I'm actually normal. She knows what I'm supposed to be there for. So I feel like that was a good thing, but everyone was, great. And I think what was really fun about it too was, Adam allows there to be a bit of improvisation to it and find things in the space. So it was about finding these little moments, and it was working with her. And I never really got the chance to do that before, to work with her, to know what she was comfortable with. And we had a lot of fun, and a lot of, I would say over 90% of the stuff that we used is in there, that we came up with and kind of developed on the moment. It was great.
Well, yeah, I didn't want to suggest that it was sexual in any way, because it's like so not sexual. It's like one of those great like gangster movies where you throw in this totally weird character, and she like when I first started watching the movie and I saw her, I thought she was like a young teenager.
Yeah, I know, she looks like it, right? Yeah.
And that's why I was like, just in acting, that's got to be kind of weird just to have this person sit down next to you and you just be this crazy.
It's funny. It's like, I guess I'm also immune to it. Like I've come from performing for years and years now, and doing shows. So I used to perform it, and I still do if it was open, not due to COVID, the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater, right? And so that was a theater that I was part of the beginning of in New York City, and we were doing shows 7 nights a week. We did shows called like Robot TV, where we would dress in painter suits and speak like robots while someone played like a bass guitar on the side of the stage. We did things where, where people were just almost naked on stage. Like if you've done it on stage in front of a paying audience, it oddly feels more intimate and more protected when you're on set. I think I've lost that humility. Like, if you told me like, hey, Paul, can you wear this out and go to a bar or go to a restaurant? I would feel totally humiliated. But if it's in front of a camera or in front of an audience, I'm like, all right, I'll do it. I mean, I went on Conan in the most, I was talking about this the other day. Like I did a Conan O'Brien piece early on where I was literally, totally naked except for like a little like a diaper, and I had to lay down in the meat packing district in New York City before the meat packing district was cool, and they actually packed meat there, and just laying on the ground and just smelling like all that like rotting flesh. And but I was like, hey, I got $500. Life is good. So that's, I'm used to it.
That's funny. Well, now you have your Unspooled and you have How Did This Get Made?
Yeah.
I feel like you're a real scholar of just movies and performances like this to begin with, where you've
Yeah.
watched so many of these movies where just one standout performance that maybe isn't on screen so much. So when you get a script like this and they ask you to do this, you kind of know that you need to come in and make this something special so that it really stands out. I would imagine, just having studied so many of these.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the hope. It's when you're coming in, and the scene that we kind of had here was a really fun scene, and I didn't want to mess it up. And I also, Adam just offered it to me, so it's also, that's another part of this equation too. It's like, am I getting the right tone? I don't know what the rest of the tone is because I haven't been on set, and and kind of just working together and in those moments and trusting each other to go in. But yeah, I mean, uh oftentimes those are my favorite performances. I love a big ensemble where like people pop in and you're like, oh, I want to see more of that character. And I love just like leaving people wanting a little bit more. And I think the way that my career has been able to work, I get to do my things that are a little bit longer term, whether it's like the League or NTSF and Black Monday, and then I get to do a lot of fun stuff, like whether it's like The Good Place or Parks and Rec, or or like this, where I get to pop in and just have fun and then leave. It's but when you're on a set that's fun, you want to stay, but it's great to get out early.
Now, was there ever any sort of rivalry between It's Always Sunny and the League in terms of you guys used to be on back to back, I believe,
Yeah, no,
but you're
like
both in
I
this
think that
movie now.
no, I think that there was a lot of love actually, because when the League came on, I think it was finally a partner that felt right for Always Sunny. And I think that Always Sunny was excited to feel like they had an hour-long block now, right? Because in the past, and I don't remember because it was so long ago, but I think the League was always kind of, or Always Sunny was always kind of partnered with a show that didn't feel tonally right. And I feel like our audiences really matched up. So we became this, better together kind of, hour-long, energy there on FX. And so we've always had a good relationship, but it's not like you go to work and you share the same cafeteria. Like they're doing their own thing, we're doing our own thing, and we would see them every now and then. Like I remember them, where we would see them every year was FX would have this like bowling tournament for their sponsors. So that, you get like the head of GM or the head of, whatever it is, Lululemon, and we'd all play, we'd all bowl and we'd all switch lanes. So you would bowl with everybody there. So that would be the night that we'd like be partnered up with each other. But that would be the only time we kind of, our paths would cross.
Well, they at the premieres too.
Oh, yes, at the premieres, right? Because towards the end we started premiere. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, I forgot. Yeah, I've forgotten how. Yeah, and we would see each other there as well. But it's interesting because at a premiere, you're also celebrating with your cast and your crew, and they're celebrating with their cast and their crew. So like a lot of the times there was a little bit of separation of church and state, only because it's like you are there for everybody else. It's like I want to meet, my AD's wife, and I want to, talk to, the wardrobe department that gets to like hang out in the truck. So it's that like that energy as well.
Well, this is the first time any of you guys have sort of crossed over in a project, or am I wrong about that?
I wonder. You probably might be right. I don't know. I mean, we travel a lot in comedy. I did a thing many years ago called the Night of 140 Tweets, where we had 140 comedians all read one tweet, and we raised money for Haiti. And I had them all there for that, and that was super fun. And that was an interesting moment because, I realized that Always Sunny is incredibly funny. They are so innovative and still turning out like these amazing shows, but they're not really in the comedy scene that we all share, or at least the comedy scene that kind of came out of Second City, UCB, and the Groundlings. So they are a little bit of an outlier. So it is interesting to see how that shakes out. Now I think, I guess, I bet you we've done animation together. That's probably been the closest that we've done. And I've had dinners with Charlie a few times. So yeah, but I can't think of, like, maybe you might be right. You might be 100% right. Wow. This is it. This is the crossover event we've all been waiting for.
It is. Well, I keep hearing rumblings that the league may get a reboot or a reunion may happen.
You know, I would say this. I would say don't count it out, but don't count on it, if that makes sense, right? We had talked about a couple things that we wanted to do. There's life in those characters still. I think, for us, it felt like, oh, maybe this is the interesting time to do it with COVID and football, because they were directly correlating to each other. Maybe there's something there, but we also have a team that is incredibly busy, and I think what we wanted to do when we did start talking about it was do it so it would be the best possible version. And I think that we can't do a table read because the show is improvised. So I think what we really wanted to do is figure out how could we do it, maybe do it remotely or something else. But like I said, don't count it out, but don't count on it. If we do it, you'll know. And I don't think it's out of the question.
Well, it seems like they split those two shows up towards the end of your run, didn't they? The league.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly. It may have been due to like when we always had to air at football season. Yeah. And I think at the end, right, yeah. And I think at the end we did get paired up with, I think, like old reruns of a Sacha Baron Cohen show, because I remember what we would do is we'd have longer episodes. And because it was a rerun, Jeff was able, one of our co-creators, Jeff Schaefer, was able to actually extend our episodes. So we always had like supersized episodes because we were pushing into the next half hour, which is always a fun thing. And that's why our DVDs and our unrated, I don't even know if they're digital downloads, but they all were like just packed with extra stuff because we never could make it to time on the show.
Well, do you have like a hard and fast rule about not including movies you've appeared in? I know you did the.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes. No, we don't. We won't include a movie that we have done on How Did This Get Made, nor will we do a movie that we have like good friends in, honestly. Like, like there's nothing to hide. We're not journalists. But I think there's two reasons for it. One, we don't want to do movies that we're in because I think there's a I don't even know how to say it in the right way, but there's a pride and there's also respect for the project that you did, right? Unless you had a miserable time and someone treated you awfully. And I would say that is so. I've worked in this business for such a long time and I've never really had such a terrible experience that I would feel like it would be appropriate for me to shit on it, in a way, or, I don't know. There's a fine line. And all I know is that, for us, who knows if we think that the movie that you all think is shitty or, but when we're looking at it, we have a little bit more of a personal connection. And I think what makes the show so fun for us is we don't have a personal connection. We just are enjoying this movie as people going to the theater. And once we're in it, it makes it a little bit more difficult. And as far as our friends and stuff, we want to walk a fine line. And every now and then we will bump into people who will be like, hey, you talked about my movie on your podcast. I'm like, oh, and I wonder, like, for example, I was just on the Goldbergs the other day and we did this movie, The Hottie or the Naughty, and the director of the episode of the Goldbergs was the Naughty. And I was like, oh no. But she listened to it and she had fun. And I think the fun of the show always is like, we're not trying to be dicks. We are really honestly we are movie lovers, and we sometimes get confused by these things and we want to really embrace them. I think there's a lot of movie podcasts out there, and we try to keep it fun, light, and positive, because that's how we view it all. Like, I want to be watching these movies. I'm watching these movies. It doesn't feel like a pain for me. I just sometimes I'm like, wait, what happened? So I think that's what we want to share with everybody.
Well, you say shitty movies, but sometimes you guys do movies that I absolutely love to death. Like my Demon Lover. I don't know. Amazing. I saw that when it first came out, and it's always been one of my favorites. And so when I see you guys do it, I don't think you're shitting on a shitty movie. It's just like, no, I want to hear these guys' take on this.
Yeah, that's kind of, and you said it better than I did. Yeah, I think that like sometimes people think that that's the vibe of the show. And then when you listen to the show, it really is us. We enjoy these movies. We really, truly do. Like, there's no anger to it. It's like, and like, there's always something to really love about these movies. We just did a movie coming up in a couple of weeks called like A Gnome Named Norm, which is Stan Winston's directorial debut with Anthony Michael Hall and this gnome.
Oh yeah, it's got a different name in some areas, right?
Yes, it's called like Gnome Cop. It's also called like Underworld or Overworld or
something like that. That's where I heard about it first, because I thought it was like one of these like Mandela effect movies that just
Oh
appear out
yeah.
of nowhere. Because I was like,
No,
where did
it's
this
so
come from?
bizarre. But
Yeah.
no, to me, like these are the movies that I grew up on. Like I worked at Blockbuster. I was at the video store every weekend when I was a kid, and these are the movies I picked off the shelf. My Demon Lover, I loved. I loved his character, the lead's character, Scott Valentine from Family Ties. Like, I want to see
Yeah.
this movie, and it felt dirty to me because it was like PG-13 when I was a kid.
I want to see more Scott Valentine. I don't know
Me
where he is
too.
or what he's
Where
doing.
is he?
But I was going to say, I don't know if you followed this up. I know you said on the show, and maybe you don't want to talk about this, but when you were doing the Governor Gabby show,
Oh yeah.
they reached out to you and said they didn't want you to do the show. Was there any follow up to that? Did they see it? Did they think
You
it was
know,
okay?
I think that with smaller films sometimes they have issues that probably are not even really based in a reality. As far as we're concerned, like, you know we can do any movie that we want. There's no real rules to it as long as we follow our kind
Yeah.
of rules. I think really what it came down to was uh I'm trying to think of how to say it in a way that is, I think that I am going to slightly pass on it because I don't know what I can legally say about it.
Okay.
So I will say that I just think that there's like a misconception of what people might be owed, if that makes sense,
Oh,
for
okay.
featuring a movie on their show. When in the truth of the matter is, a lot of the times, all the times, we really direct people to rent and buy the films. So I think that, if anything, I think more probably people have seen Governor Gabby recently because they were on the show.
Well, I was going to say, I didn't know who she was. And
Yeah.
I hadn't seen the movie until I heard you guys were doing it. And I watched it. And then I'm kind of a fan. And
Oh,
I
it's one of the greats. It's one of the greats. And I truthfully believe that, when we had our issue with Governor Gabby, it was before they saw the episode, before they even heard anything. I think they just kind of they saw something going on and they didn't quite know what it was. And that will be very clear in saying that once the episode aired and they heard it and there was no feedback or anything.
Well, and there's a free app that was showing that movie that you guys didn't even mention.
I know we tried. I'm telling you, we tried to be uh respectful of the filmmakers, especially when it comes down to films like that. Like, because
Yeah.
there's a difference between doing like Green Lantern, which is a $125 million movie, versus a movie that is an independent film. And if we are going to feature it, we do want to make sure that the filmmakers do get their due, right? You at least rent it from them, or give them some props. That is important for me as an artist myself, and somebody who relies on downloads and people watching and all those things. So that is something that I always take. We do it with all of our films, but that's something that I take a great pride in.
No, and I know you want to wrap it up soon, but in terms of Christmas, you do have a couple of Christmas episodes that are
Yes.
live that are
Yeah. So we are doing so maybe a couple months ago, a company approached us and they said, we'd love to do How Did This Get Made Live? And we never really had done it live outside of our really live shows in front of a real audience. And we watched their technology and we loved it so much. And we felt it was incredibly interactive and really fun. So we did Cats live, in this virtual live auditorium, and you can have this amazing chat going on and these professional people behind the scenes. And we loved our experience there. And we got to reach out to people in Australia and the UK who could never see a show because we've never gone there before, and people who we haven't gone to their towns. So we had this amazing experience, and we thought it would be really fun because people love when we do our Christmas movies, if we did like 2 special Christmas films. And we try to keep it really kind of cheaply priced. I think for both shows it's $25 and it's $15 if you just want to go to one. And if you can watch it live, it's great. You can interact with us. And if you can't watch it live, it's available all weekend long. And you just have to go to the hdtgm.com website to find information. And right now I'm going to give you an exclusive because we've barely talked about it yet. I think for our 12/18 show, we are going to talk about this new Colonel Sanders Lifetime movie, this mini movie called Recipe for Seduction, which is Mario Lopez as Colonel Sanders, and I think a paid Lifetime film, like a sexy Lifetime film. So we're going to add that into 12/18.
that just came out. That came on the phone while you were talking to me right before I opened up the thing. I was like, what is this?
I mean,
So,
I wonder if it's trying to be funny, we won't do it. But if it feels weird enough, I think we have to do it.
well, obviously you saw the Will Ferrell and Kristen Wiig one, right?
Oh, well, that's amazing. That one, that was really great because Rachel Goldberg, who I actually used a handful of times, she's an amazing director, and she directed Valley Girl, which came out a little while ago. She's a comedy director, but she came out of the Lifetime camp, and they actually wrote a true Lifetime movie. That was awesome. Like that was an experiment in, because I think in a way, some people thought, oh, it's going to be really, really funny, but it was really just them doing it, and it was.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved it.
That's what it was. It was serious, but it was.
Yeah.
But you can't. I don't know. It like messes with your mind watching that movie.
Well,
So
because these movies are like, I love a Lifetime movie. I mean, I love it. Where the first movie that we're doing is called like A Nutty Christmas with Melissa Joan Hart, where I think a nutcracker comes to life and she's a baker. But to me, it's like there is something so oh, I mean, there's a reason why people love Lifetime. I mean, it scratches an itch. It's like a part soap opera, part bad movie, part like I can't turn away. Like they as someone who watches a shitload of movies, the Lifetime movies go down so smooth. It's like, wait, it's over? And yeah, so I have nothing but love for a Lifetime film.
now, do you consider Archenemy the perfect companion piece to watch with Marvel 616 Lost and Found?
Honestly, look, I would love you to watch Marvel 616, but I actually do believe that Archenemy is doing something so incredibly cool and different in the superhero genre. And I think to do something and play into the tropes and also subvert the tropes at the same time and make them both feel fulfilling is a real talent. And that's what Adam does in this movie. Like if you're a fan of superhero movies, especially Marvel movies, it grounds them in a way. I mean, you liked it, or I don't want to put you on the spot, but I mean, I felt like it does something just I have not seen anyone do yet.
No, I did like it. It's very different.
Yeah, it's
Very.
cool. It's like, yeah.
I don't know if it was what I was expecting from reading the synopsis, but it really pulls you in, and the animation is very unique. It's not anything I've seen before in a movie.
Look, there's a couple
You
things
and
about it
Glenn
that,
kill it. It's like those are the best parts of
thanks.
the movie.
Oh man, you're so nice to say it. I love doing it, and I think what I think is kind of cool is, I'm a writer and a producer and a director, all these things, and I think a lot of the times you're told, oh, you can't do that. You don't have enough money to do that, right? Like no one will ever give you money to do this thing. And I think what Adam does here is he takes a giant premise. Like you could see this executed again on like that $120 million budget, like, and he manages to tell this very, epic story, but figures out ways to create, use your imagination and subvert your expectations for it, because it is, it's a bigger story than I think most independent films do. And what I always feel is like, as long as we're getting out of that mumblecore world where it's a bunch of people hanging out in a house, celebrating Thanksgiving or something, like I'm excited. I want to see more indie films that are like taking these kind of chances. That's what I really love about it.
I was gonna say, I don't think it would work as well as a big budget movie. I think that smaller budget really helps push what the story is, especially
you might be right. Yeah.
with the big reveal.
Yeah, you're true. Yeah.
There's a question the whole time: is this guy telling the truth? Is he not telling the truth? And then and the lead, I'm sure, Joe, he's I can't say his last name.
Manganiello. Yeah.
Yeah, Manganiello. So he really, it's like he was in a big, huge superhero movie, and he got the shaft really badly in that movie. And he was supposed to be in the Batman, and so then he comes and he does this, and you're like, yeah, that we want to see this guy as a superhero.
I think we have some redemption, right? Because I believe.
Oh yeah, they've shot new stuff.
Yeah. So I'm curious. I mean, I'm very curious about that Zack Snyder's cut. To me, all love, but when you put that much pressure on a cut, I'm nervous. I would be freaked out. Like, wouldn't it just be better to live in the imagination of people like, oh, I wish I would have seen the Zack Snyder cut, but now you got to see it. Now it's gonna be like, all right, it's a lot. I mean, it's a very pressurized situation. So Zack Snyder has a lot on his shoulders right now.
Have you seen the new shots they showed?
Yeah, it looked pretty
Joe
cool. Like,
Manganiello, like they went back and they redid his whole look.
yeah, I'm curious. Like, I mean, look, it must have been. I love it in the sense that, like, as a fan, they brought back, like, I think there's a lot of things in fan culture where it's like, replace that actor with so and so or this or that. That person's badly cast. But this was, I think, a lot more pure, which was like, let the director finish their vision. And that to me was really cool, right? Because it's not like recast so and so. It is, let's see what they intended. Because sometimes when you do this stuff, and I've been in movies, I worked on a movie that I was so excited about, and the director was kicked out of the edit room very early on. And the movie that's released is okay, it's fine,
Can
but
you
it's
say
not the movie
what
that
it
we
is?
shot. What?
Can you say what movie it is?
I can't, but I'm sure somebody could look on my IMDb and figure out what it is. But but yeah, it's like that is, there are those moments where you just get in these zones where you're like, oh, this has all the ingredients of something really cool, and you don't actually get to see what version the person who made it wanted, because sometimes you just don't know. You just don't know.
What did you see before? His name is Deathstroke in the movie, right?
Yes.
Before Justice League even came out, they had like the short Deathstroke video that came out, and they
Oh
made a
yeah, yeah.
huge deal about him returning in the Batman before you even saw Justice League. And that whole process, that is like even crazier than, I think that's one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
Well,
Build
remember,
up with no payoff.
the Deadpool mini trailer, right?
Yeah.
That was like, the whole thing was like, that's how Deadpool came into existence, like that
That paid off with a
amazing.
big blockbuster movie that everybody
Yeah,
wanted to see. This was like the opposite of that.
I know.
Where
Yeah,
this is huge, and then it's just nothing.
eh.
So, but anyways, I didn't know if you had seen all of that stuff. Like
Oh,
the
I
whole,
saw. Yeah, I remember seeing that, like that like that. Well, didn't wait, was that? Maybe I didn't see that. I'm thinking, did I just see what Ben Affleck posted, where it was like him like entering into camera, like through a camera? I remember I saw something. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't see what you're talking about.
no, I think that's what it was. Ben
Okay,
Affleck
yeah.
directed this short like
Yes.
video, a Deathstroke,
Yes. Then that. Yes. Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
made a
Definitely.
huge deal. Like our site, they like every day is a Deathstroke story, and you're like, and then he shows up at the end of the movie in the credits, and you're like, what?
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah. It's exactly. Yeah.
So,
Well, it's like too much in, like, like it's too much in the pie. It's like, I always felt like that with Spider-Man. It's like, well, not always, but it's like sometimes this idea of like, not Spider-Man, Batman, like how many villains can we throw in? It's so much better when you can just focus on one. We don't need to like keep so many hanging things out there. I like when you just kind of allude to certain things where you build a world and it kind of comes crumbling together.
well, they got so many villains in the new Batman movie.
Oh, so many, so many. But Harley Quinn did a great job. Harley Quinn, they introduced so many characters, but that's more of an ensemble, I think.
That was a great
Obviously.
movie, Birds of Prey, and then it just kind of disappeared, and it was like, what?
I love that movie. And I didn't know what to expect of it. And Kathy Yoon, right? That's who directed it. I thought she killed it. That is a movie that I've told so many people about. And, I don't know. I think it was positively received, but I sometimes think it's like, in the wrong hands, something is not as good as it could be. And this, man, it blew me away. I can't wait to see more of what she does and more of that character.
Yeah, they blamed it on the marketing.
Yeah. I mean, look, that marketing looked like trash to me too. It's hard. You don't know, it's how do you advertise it? And also, how do you advertise it when there's a preconceived notion of the character too? It's like, there's so many things to kind of throw at it.
No, if they come to you and say, we have this amazing DC superhero for you to play or character, are you going to do it? And
well, look, here, I'm going to show you one thing, right? Stay right there. Hold on. I can get up for 1 second here. Where is it? Oh, damn, I thought I had it. Here it is. Sorry about this. I just released my first DC book, which I wrote a Harley Quinn story with my buddy Nick Giovanetti for the Christmas episode. Yeah, so that was super fun. I think it's coming out. If it, I mean, I have it in my hand, so it must be close to being printed if it's not out already. It's the DC's Very Merry Multiverse, 80-page thing, and it's all a bunch of different stories by a bunch of great people in here. Like Tom King wrote one, Jay Baruchel, a bunch of great people in here.
Oh, Jay, did you watch Jay Baruchel's movie? That was another one
Oh
like
yeah, the
this one
Goon,
that was
right? Yeah,
like,
it's great. Yeah, really fun. I love Sean William Scott too. He's so good.
now that's a good double feature. What does that movie?
Yeah.
The movie, the name escaped me. The
Is
title of
it
it.
Goon? Isn't it Goon, or am I wrong on that?
No, Goon is the hockey movie, isn't
Oh,
it?
how good is? Oh, so what's the Jay Baruchel movie?
It's a serial killer that is
Oh, I didn't see that.
recreating the graphic novels that the
Whoa,
artist.
no, I didn't see that. Oh, wow.
Yeah, again, it just kind of got buried right in like the summertime, kind of like the quarantine rush, where
Okay. Oh, I got
people
to
didn't
check
know
that
it was
out.
coming out. It
I
was
love
coming out
Jay.
for a while. Oh, you got to see the movie. Like I said, it's exactly like this movie in sort of what it does for comic books. It's not a
Ooh.
superhero movie, but it's a comic book movie.
Well, did you see the Luther episode where he is fighting like a Dungeons and Dragons kind of villain, and Luther's this Idris Elba BBC show, and so basically the villain is always rolling die before they decide what they're going to do to the victim.
I've never seen Luther.
Oh, dude, get on Luther. It's one of the best cop shows. It's so dark.
It's
It's like
hard.
frightening dark. Yeah,
It's
it's
so
great.
many stuff to watch. I can't.
Get on that Luther train. You will not regret it. Luther is perfect.
So, anyways, I appreciate you coming on and chatting about Arch
Yeah.
Enemy. It's one of the good Christmas movies. It's like weird because we don't have a lot of stuff coming out right now, and anything like this is being so welcomed by genre fans that are just hungry for this kind of stuff.
Look, I'm excited, and I know there's a lot of like hubbub about HBO Max and releasing all their movies there, but truthfully, I want to see it. I'm excited for Wonder Woman, and I don't want to wait, to get back to the theater. I think it's going to be a while before that actually comes together. So to be able to, go and see I mean, look, do I want to watch The Matrix on my couch? Not ideally, but do I want to wait like 2 more years to watch Matrix? No. So I can't wait for Wonder Woman on Christmas. I can't wait. I'm so pumped.
I put up an Epson like HD projector in my bedroom again, and it's like going to the movie theater. So I don't know what the big deal is.
No, look, we have a nice
cheap.
projector. We got a nice projector in the back, and we have a good TV screen. And it's like, yeah, turn on the lights, get the music right, and it's perfect.
I mean, you can't have people over, but there's the new what was it, the new VR that just came out.
Oh yeah, the Oculus, or I love those. Yeah,
they have that app where you can go to the movie theater with your friends,
and you can kind of look to their left and right.
Yeah,
it's great.
they're sitting there with you, and you can chat and talk, and so
yeah, that's so great.
There's avenues, there's ways. So you're okay with the HBO Max thing?
I am okay with it because I think, look, I know it's not. In my mind, I'm like, it's catering to film fans, but I know it's really catering to investors. I guess I just feel like what you're saying is one of the things I miss the most is going to the movies and seeing new movies and having that excitement and those things to talk about. It brings me, like, truthfully, it brings me joy. And to know that we'll be getting things, whether it is Zack Snyder's new cut of the film, whether it's Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure 3. These things are in this time right now where things are so dark, it brings me like some legit joy. And I don't know when it's safe to go back to a movie theater. April, May, I mean, we'll see. I can't, I don't know. So I love going to the drive-in, and I don't think it should replace anything, but I think right now it's an interesting thing that I think is catering to fans, and I know secretly catering to investors.
Well, here that drive-in, the Mission Tiki was here for ages. We used to go.
I know.
In the 2006, all the way back then.
And they're a small business, so it is good to support that small business too. And I love that, and I love that people are going to the drive-ins. And I saw Tenet in the drive-in, which was, here's the interesting thing I found out about drive-ins. My car shuts off after about 30 minutes of just having the radio on. It's some sort of stopgap. So every now and then in Tenet, I'd have to like just restart my car just to keep the radio going.
Oh man, I don't want to keep you going if you got somewhere to go, but I got to know what you think about Tenet, because people say it's confusing. I wasn't confused so much. By the end of the movie, it felt like, a whole canvas. I knew what happened in the movie, even though I
Yes.
didn't understand parts of it while it was happening.
Yeah, I mean, look, the movie is very bold in saying their characters speak to each other and they say, "Hey, you're not going to understand this." Like they basically let you know as the audience, like, don't get too caught up in this and go for the ride. Visually, it's amazing. I'm on again, the way I feel about Adam, I feel about Christopher Nolan. I'm on board. Like, make your cool shit, make your weird shit. Like, uh, some are gonna connect to me more than others, and we'll see, and it will be the balance. Now, I will say this, very honestly, that my wife pulled the plug on Tenet about 2 hours and 10 minutes into it. She's like, we gotta go. And so I did not see the end of Tenet, but what I saw, I was enjoying, and I'm looking forward to the DVD, the VOD release of it this month, so I can actually finally finish it.
2 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah, we cut out, like, we really got out in the last 20, like I don't know why we couldn't stay for the last 20, but that was not to be.
Oh, did you have your kids in the car?
Nope.
No.
My wife was
Okay.
just like, I'm done. And I
I
was like,
went
okay.
to I went to a drive-in to see Wonder Woman once with a friend that had 3 kids.
Oh boy.
And the littlest one was turning the radio on and off, trying to drive the cars, screaming. And yeah, I've only ever seen half of the first Wonder Woman.
Yeah, it's tricky. You got to really come prepared. I have a this awesome minivan, and the one benefit of the minivan was that if you turn down all the seats, it's like a flatbed truck. So we turned the car around. We had a nice. It was very comfortable to watch, but my wife was just like, I'm bored. But that's okay. And we don't always agree on the same movies.
But there was only like what 15 more minutes to go.
Nah, didn't make a difference.
What was the last scene you saw in the movie?
I believe it was the chase on the highway.
Chasing the highway.
Yeah, like
Okay.
there's like a highway chase, like
Yeah.
where I mean, I guess it seems like one of the big giant set pieces. Like they're throwing the briefcase back and forth between the cars.
Did you see the car catch on fire with
And that final shot, yes, that's yeah.
And then he like froze to death.
That, and maybe now this is when we were debating whether or not to leave. Oh, and then they bring him back, right? And then they bring him back in the car.
He didn't die. I mean, he got frozen, but he was supposed to be hot, but it was reversed, so he was frozen instead.
And now I'm like, again, like these last moments of the movie were very much like us getting out, me trying to still stick my head out the window to see what I was watching. But we did leave in the middle of a chase scene. There was a briefcase being thrown back and forth.
Okay,
and now I barely remember what I saw because I couldn't all put it together. But I'm gonna sit down on that VOD and really get into it.
I was gonna say I can't imagine you missed much of it, but you missed so much of it that you're gonna need to go back and watch.
Yeah, I need to really.
So much happened after the car chase.
Okay, so then I need to get into it.
That was the thing, is like at that car chase, I thought, hey, I kind of know what's going on. And
okay.
Then,
so yeah. I definitely saw them go back into the airport scene. Like they went back into the airport scene. I saw that. That's really my last strong memory of them going back into the beginning of the movie. Back to
even after that, there is still like there's like a huge action like climax of the movie that is insane.
All right, well, I can't wait. Now you got me excited.
Well, I wouldn't watch it with your wife because she's
no. Now,
so bored during the big fight at the end. If she was bored by the car chase, because like you're even just like, what is going on?
I'm gonna watch it after she goes to bed for sure.
That's insane. Anyways, well, I thank you so much for coming on again.
Thanks so much, man. I appreciate your time and thank you for all your kind words and listening to podcasts and all that sort of stuff. I appreciate you.
You've just really been here for a lot of people.
Oh, that's so nice to hear.
Well, it's funny is like one of the times with the league, this didn't have anything to do with the league, but they were doing like a huge press line.
Yeah.
And Richard Dreyfuss was there for some mini series he had done for FX. And he was on the line and he made a comment about the fact that he felt his work was as important as any doctor or any psychiatrist. And a lot of people that were standing there listening to him got mad at him. But after this all happened, I started thinking, you guys really do provide a service that is, it's not, healthcare workers. It's not like, on that level, you're not saving lives, but again, you kind of are saving some lives.
Well, look, the first responders are putting their lives on the line, and I feel like if we can give any first responders any moment of a break or a laugh in that moment, you know, whether or not, and beyond first responders, that to me means the world. And I've talked to so many people in this pandemic who've kind of echoed sentiments like that, that, I mean, it's overwhelming and kind of just really, you know, it makes me emotional in a way that, you know, that we can be there, especially, you know, in those moments where people are alone, and
What is that?
yeah, there's so many things. Oh, do I got a little kid up? That my child in there. Get out of here, buddy. You got to go back to school. All right.
It's like a
Uh,
monster reaching in to grab you out of
yeah,
the
it's like a little, yeah, there he is. Okay, I'm gonna go check it out. All right. His Zoom is off, so I have to go figure out what's going on. So
Yeah.
this is the new style interview. This is lovely to talk to you, man. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, it's great. My brother's an EMT and he listens to this all the time. So,
Oh, wow.
really reaching
Well,
out.
awesome, man. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, good luck with the movie and everything. I'll
All
talk
right,
to you later.
thanks.
Bye.
Bye.